I awoke to an unusual pressure on my chest. My eyes took far too long to adjust. I didn't even notice the figure standing over me. The sound of Topher whimpering snapped my mind into focus. He sounded like he couldn't be more than a few paces away from me, but my head would not turn. I struggled with the rest of my body, but it would not respond. There were no bindings around my arms or legs. I simply could not move, no matter how hard I tried. My eyes darted feverishly from side to side, trying desperately to piece together what had happened. And then I saw it. The gnarled hag licking its crumbling lips with a terrible worm-like tongue. It pawed at my stomach just below my chest, each time followed by a horrible sucking sound. I felt the air rush out of my lungs. I tried to scream, but I only mumbled. I wanted to die, but I could only watch. The rotted wooden table that held me had a smaller metal table attached to it. It was draped in silk and was presenting the length of intestine. I felt the pressure on my chest a second time. Again, the air flew from my lungs. The pile of entrails grew. Topher cried out softly. I willed my body to face him, but it was no use. I cried out to him as loud as I could, hoping he would understand that I was with him. I could hear them giggling. Now, the sound bubbled out of them, thick with mucus. Apparently satisfied with my disembowelment, another hag stepped into view. It grabbed a handful of innards and raised them to its face. It inhaled deeply and sighed happily.
Another delicious boy.
Its teeth chattered together indulgently.
If this one doesn't take, it would serve us well in a bone broth.
The other hag kept prodding at my insides coldly. The pressure had evolved into numbness, like tiny pinpricks inside my rib cage. My head twitched slightly when I tried to move it. Regret is not a strong enough word to describe the emotion. I saw the broken and bent claws of the hag reach back into the wound. I could now clearly see. My liver lay beside me on the table. A pinkish and fatty mound of flesh lying ambivalently on its side, unaware of the horror it instilled. I tried to retreat into my mind, but I was past the point of escape, too terrified to exist anywhere but the present. The other hag returned with a ceramic bowl lined with burning incense. It cloaked the room in a thick, yellowish fog. They each filled their massive hands with what looked like soil.
A little grave dirt and the mutation is complete.
Their cackling voices competed for volume, maniacally chittering as they stuffed fistful after fistful into my open chest. But Topher silenced them both. He screamed like a man on fire. I could hear him convulsing on the table beside me. I forced my head to turn regardless of its will. His skin was white, sweat shining in the torchlight. One hag left me to tend to him. Did you taste his bile? You should have boiled the nightshade for this one. And they began erratically tearing at his stomach, opening a similar wound to mine. The remaining hag placed the incense on my forehead and started packing my organs back into place. My finger moved an inch when I tried to reach for her, but I saw a face in the smoke. It moved towards me out of the fog, looked at my now wiggling hand, and shook its head. No. My eyes would have widened if they could. 2, 3, 4. I counted the faces appearing around me. Another put a finger to his lips. I tried to stay as still as possible. The hag gathered the flesh around my belly and held them together loosely. It looked worriedly towards Topher and the gouts of blood he was spilling. Something was wrong. The hag grabbed my hand and set it to the wound. "Hold this best you can, little hexblood. I would appreciate it if you would not die while I am away." She joined the others, placed both hands on Topher's head. I told my body to sit up and my shoulder jolted. I tried again and the searing pain racked my abdomen. Two of the ghostly faces seemed to fade into reality and back out again slowly. They placed frozen, icy hands behind my back and helped me to my feet. I kept a grip on my leaking wound and started for the hallway. I looked back at Topher. His body was clouded in a dark haze. The hags were chanting now. Eyes rolled back into their skulls. The bleeding had stopped, but his cries had devolved into a constant scream. He started to levitate just slightly above the table, and the hags began to shake and convulse. A large man made of smoke stepped between the hags and I. His glowing eyes narrowed, and in my head, I heard the word, "Go."